Now let's read some files, shall we? Richard Morton back from an exploration in front of one of his ships. The history of the famous Boston Destiny is a tale full of unexplained events, surprises, and troubles. Some will claim my only goal in telling it is to damage the reputation of one of the most legendary fortunes, the Massachusetts. I would like to say in my defense that I am simply doing my duty as a historian. My account is based on reliable sources and interviews with the witness who though they may be adversaries, are no less worthy of our interest. If I echo the certain rumors, it is in the belief that they too are constructive of the Morton family history. Oh. Morton Oil Company. Also, they run an oil company. Alright. Contract for the exploration of the natural resources in Puebla, Venice, signed by the respective of the Venice government and by Richard Morton. The Morton family roots in America go back to the time of the great demonic changes during the decade following the founding of the USA. Although it is impossible to reconstruct the family history further back than the beginning of the 9th century, it appears that the family originated from a small town of Whitechapel in Sussex, England. Oh, England. It was Robert Morton, a line merchant, who led his family to the American continent in 1923. He built his first paper factory on the highest of Beacon Hill. The success of the Morton papers was dazzling. It was Richard Morton, though his older brother, who founded the real Morton empire by creating the Morton Oil Company on March the 23, 1889, at the age of 37. So he must have been... I was born in 1988. He must have been 46, so yeah, count me days in worth. The Iceman. The Morton's family history of secretly started with the discovery of a man in the ice during one of his companies prospecting the expedition in Greenland in between 1891 and 93. Richard Morton, the influential public figure, became increasingly exclusive, abandon the powerful Boston society circles. He requested to launch himself during the expedition that led him back time after time to the site of his first Macbeth discovery. Hang on, I'll be back. I'm going to get a drink. Ugh. Settle is in the background to assist in his mission, which sometimes ended in human and financial disaster. He called upon the Swedish and Norwegian sailors and mercenaries, among who was certain Judas Settle. Settle was a risk taker, a warrior, and claimed interest in the arts of black magic. He was a suspicious character who seems to have great influence over Richard Morton. Oh. The exact cause of this terrible accident was never uncovered. Oh, looks like the train has crashed. Oh, we're digging some deep into the Morton history. Against the expedition, the family business was frustrating. The Morton Oil Company won by over the market. After the market in Venezuela, in the Osa, and in the North Sea, its committees meanwhile were struck by a string of surprisingly misfortunes. Their key navigators had an accident, their directors delivered a mental health problems, and their lawyers would cave in suddenly, agreeing to the dastardly settlements. No public or private investigation managed to pin a criminal charge on the Morton group. The family's fortune was known to be huge. However, one knew how huge. Gibson, around 1900s. Samuel Samuel Gibson entered into Richard's Morton service on June the 20th, 1899. This brilliant student had a knack for displacing an ancient language. It turned out that Morton had entrusted him with the translation of inscription on tablets found near the famous Iceman. Gibson work led Richard Morton to Shadow Island. Oh, so that's how they were in Shadow Island. So that actually makes sense. And I need a fucking drink. Offshore view of Shadow Island. The front that overlooks the island breaks moors had been abandoned for good 20 or so years. Soldiers stranded there had an experience hallucinations or suffered sudden bouts of sheer madness, otherwise simply disturbed without a trace. Disappeared without a trace. I should also mention a strange legend that claimed the chapel suddenly near the front had been the site of strange rituals during the 17th century, during the which human sacrifice might have taken place. The state of Massachusetts needed no convincing when Richard Morton offered to buy Shadow Island, which he did for a normal sum. It seems that to start with, Richard Morton wanted to make the front his home. He spent a real fortune and superhuman effort on this task before abandoning the idea. He elected instead to build a strange manor on the south of the side of the island. His decision to buy Shadow Island and live there was because the engravings on the stone tablets were similarities to those found in the island's deepest underground passageways. Letter from Gibson to his fiancée, dated October the 14th, 1902. As work on the translation of the engravings and adventures, revelations between Morton and Gibson deteriorated, the student realized the romanticism of his work, where Morton seems to be divided by a destructive passion. Once more, Gibson discovers seemed too terrifying for him. He comforted his worries and fears in a long letter addressed to his young fiancée who had stayed on the mainland. This was the last that was heard of him. Gibson's mother later received this letter, teased message: "Your son has disappeared. His body has not been found. My condolences." Signed, Richard Morton. A search warrant. The peak of Richard Morton's disturbing activities was a wave of disturbances among the young girls of Boston, poor neighbors. This is the most disturbing episode of his life. It is my definite belief that, driven by the evil Desetto. Oh, so that's a guy who was gonna give us some, like, gonna look at in the mirror if we gave him the mirror. The founder of the Morton's destiny was practicing black magic rituals involving the sacrifice of innocent souls. Without a doubt, in the very chapel sacrifice had taken place 3 centuries earlier. To what end? Do not know. The first disappearance, stated in October and November 1903, they continued with frightening regularity of 1 a month, increasing during the periods of the epochs until Richard Morton died on April the 13th, 1905. On this date, the disappearance mysteriously stopped. Ooh. Orchard Morton as a child. In 1874, Orchard Morton was born, the only child of Richard Morton and Susan Chambers, the youngest daughter of the Lord Chambers, a ruined aristocrat and upper addict. While the Morton Oil Company business prospered, Orchard devoted his youth to the study of the polar circles. Like his father, he mounted many expeditions. Like his father, he also developed a fascination for Shadow Island and it's a strange secret. Young Polish-stern men and women hold in the ship. It was slowly embarked that a large numbers young men and women were uprooted from their distant homelands and taken to the island as early as the end of 1905. Ichabod was in this matter more strict than his father. Evidence of this is found not only in the accounts of some sailors but also in the written confessions of the slave trader Thomas Buckland in which De Soto name is cited several times. It seems, however, that no one trace of these unfortunate men and women has ever been found on the island. Ichabod Morton and Jennifer Puddick. In 1897, Ichabod Morton married his first wife, Jennifer Pursuit, a pastor's daughter, and the reunion organized. She was a devoted Christian and wrote long letters to her father recounting her disgust for her husband and her despair. The pastor, however, had disappeared the day after the marriage. The undelivered letters were kept in the postal archive, where I discovered them still sealed. Oh! Ichabod treated her with uncommon cruelty. Oh! She nevertheless gave birth to his son in 1999. Jeremy Morton as a child. Jeremy Morton was a weak and dedicated nature, but early in life he was already showing signs of expansion's intelligence. He too was haunted by the secrets of the Shadow Island, but his general approach was more scientifically. Jeremy Morton was an inventor, the breadth and the originality of his intuitions, which he never even bothered to patent, is highly impressive. He attended the conference and addressing the conference in 2022. He struck up a lasting friendship with one of the last descendants of the Accabanus tribe, Joseph Edenshaw. Oh my God, that's Edenshaw, the guy who we talked to in the very, very, very first episode. Oh. The Native American settled on Shadow Island in 1924. Invoice from the Noble Company addressing to Jeremy Morton. Oh, that's the invoice. Probably how much he spent or owes the company. We don't know. It appears that Jeremy Morton collected a considerable arsenal of weaponry in less than 3 years. He ordered over 200 libs of explosive from the Noble Company in Bolton, along with a large quantity of lesser officers and magnum. Jeremy Morton and Joseph Edenshaw. The last 10 years of Jeremy Morton's life were almost secretly and mysterious. In his youth and middle age, the interior genius hopped on with the ice cream of society. He spent his old age, however, as recluse on the island. Some accounts of this period make the blood wound cold. One example is the marriage of his son, Howard. Howard was born in 1931 to Lucy Doggan, for which he staged a reception on the island of Revelations. And members from the distant branch of the family were presented. The party was dispersed by drama when the horrific calamity mutilated the body of one of the guests was discovered in the park accident to the manor. Lucy's brother Michael Dogman claims to have seen a terrifying lizard-like creature, it with tentacles, armed with enormous fangs. The horrible mutilated one of the body of the guest. There is no doubt in my mind that members of the Morton family, Jeremy no exception, under the thing with the dragon, there's no doubt that the member of the Morton family, Jeremy bring no exception, undertook dangerous and frightful environments on the corpse discovered by Richard and his successor, experiments that interfere with nature's own course of destruction. From the dead course breeding genetic manipulation. Oh, so these are all the history of the Morton family. Ah, interesting. What a great way to invest. What a great way to know the family line.
Yes. I hope you're calling with good news.
Maybe. I spotted a man in the fort that overlooks the island. It might be Obed Morton.
So?
So what? No, I didn't blast him like a sitting duck, even if that is what he deserves. This whole mess would never have happened if he and his bent family hadn't been warped by ambition.
Obed Morton has made great progress in his field, increasing our knowledge of mankind. He's a genius, with a passion for his work.
Man, you are naive. Besides, who is Obed Morton to you? I can't talk about him without you immediately getting all worked up.
I have good reason to believe that Professor Morton, that Obed Morton is my father.
If that's a joke, it sure isn't funny.
The dates coincide, and I was shown a picture.
So that's why you agreed to come to the island?
And also for the Epcanis writing tablets.
Epcanis tablets my foot. But why didn't you write to him, for crying out loud? Why rush straight over here?
I want to hear it from his own mouth.
Actually, I guess I understand. I should tell you to stay put, but be careful, Aline, and call me if you have any problems.
Carnby, I have a problem.
I know you have a statue. There are still 6 missing.
I don't understand why you never did something before. You could have prevented this whole nightmare.
I am but a man. You have no idea what this ritual is for me. But time is running short. I know Alan is getting ready to open the gate, and that will unleash a true flood.
You know I want to help. If I'm going to die, let's at least make it worthwhile. So, give me a hint before you vanish again.
Go to the fort. That is the Morton's true place. That is where you shall unveil the secrets of the island.
Listen, I can't hold up anymore. There's this monster chasing me. My weapons don't even harm it.
Maybe you should try a very powerful light source.
But it's not like all the others. It's human, too.
Aline, I found out that Alan undertook experiments on dead human bodies. Experiments dealing with the blending of creatures of darkness. The results aren't a pretty sight.
Oh, man. We really gotta get some help.
The only people who know that we're here are those who do not want to let it be known. I think we'll have to depend on ourselves, and only ourselves.
It seems so hopeless.
A small metallic object is laying on the casket. There is an engraved plate on it. Only a symbol of light will open the tomb.
Carnby, I'm stuck in a tomb. It's horrible.
Don't panic. Did you find any objects?
Yes, some kind of lens. But how...
I don't know, but try and fit it at the end of your flashlight. Maybe it'll enable you to trigger some kind of mechanism.
Okay.
Shut me in here. A curse on him and all his family. I'm going to die here, and I am afraid. S. Gibson. Oh my God, it's him! It's him who we were reading about? Jesus Christ, the poor soul.
I imagine you've come for me. You can tell Lamb that the writing tablets are of no use now. Aline already knows the translation, and thus has all the cards in hand. The gate is about to open, and the darkness to pour over the earth. The creatures will indulge in massacres that even all the armies of the world could never stop. Nothing can save us from the darkness now. You too should prepare to die. Night is falling all over the world. It has slipped its cold hand into my brain.
Stop! Stop! I only want to find out if you knew Mary Cedric.
Cedric. The name reminds me of a long-gone past. But I want nothing to do with memories. I must stop it. I must stop it from getting to my eyes.
Mary Cedric. Mary!
My blood is curdling. I feel my bones snapping like a block of ice in my chest.
Are you sure you never knew Mary Cedric? Are you sure you're not my father?
Me? Your father? Me? A daughter? I don't know who put that foolish idea in your mind. But let me tell you, that is simply impossible. So now, let me gather myself. I wish to ready myself for the judgment. When one bears the supreme sin as I do, one must get ready before the darkness. But I can see.
Carnby,
In need of help again, Aline?
don't try and be smart. I might not be a professional, but there's a chest, locked with a chain.
You're more of a professional than hundreds of detectives I know. I'd say that nothing's better than a pair of bolt cutters.
And just where do I find them? Carnby? Carnby?
Well, hello everyone. If you enjoyed that video, give it a like and subscribe to my channel for more. And honestly, this is best they're gonna get with horror, blood cuddling demons and sexcapade. No, honestly, I love a good old survival horror, and Alone in the Dark is still my favourite up to this day, even though I played the PS1 version. So the new Nightmare is still up to date. So I will see you all again next week, but tune in next time for an exciting episode of Alone in the Dark. So long, farewell, I'll see you again, goodbye, goodbye, and like and subscribe. Ka-ching!
Something